So you might be able to see that some things don't look right. Like there's a giant bunny coming. But if you're mentally retarded, you might not know what giant bunnies look like, so you've never seen one before or something. And I noticed these little threads probably started happening when I was like 4, because by the time I was 10, I just strictly avoided everyone as like literally that is my life, my job, my work. Apparently, my whole life has been just trying. They're going to school. How the hell could I not go to school? They're going this place. How the hell could I not go there? Literally, it's like it's a massive job. It was a fun job before I realized it was a job. But anyways, okay. So in 2020, I'd already experienced like at least 4 years now where I'd seen beings around me who were just like being hijacked. Like all of a sudden they went from being what they were to some other operating system taking over them for a second or something like that. Say, let's say someone, you knew someone who was like mentally disabled or something, and then all of a sudden they just started talking to you. And then they didn't just talk to you, they told you about like your personal life. And they told you some stuff that even a smart person wouldn't have been able to straight get to. And you're like, damn, that could have happened all along. But it didn't. So I had noticed that for 4 years, weird stuff was happening. In fact, that was maybe like 2014 when some girl who came meet me started talking to me about bringing up topics that have nothing to do with anyone. Unless you're in my room with me. And no one is in my room with me. So that's that. Um, and then 2020, boy, talk about topics that you got to be in my room to understand. How the hell are you going to go around talking to people about crazy stuff like that? I mean, it's crazy, dude. Who the hell would even think that? I don't. I definitely don't go around telling everyone that they're God and they control the world and they just they're behind all the wars. I mean, I do these days because I kind of see, whatever this AI thing is that takes over them. Like obviously, each thing it can take over is it. So if it's doing the wars, it is doing the acting ignorant. But okay, so this creature I've known for a long time, um, acting really weird. Now, I by 2020, I had tested stuff to the point, and they sent people to talk to me about it. That I was aware the world was pretty much all a lie and fake. Um, I just didn't know the extreme deaths. Like the world got shut down in 2020. Okay, so that was like it. They were like, look, check it out. We can just tell them to sit down and do nothing, and they're gonna do it. And I'm like, okay, well, you just confirmed it's all that. I don't have to test because I was testing every person I met. I don't know anyone anymore because not only did I test them, but they all failed. And I mean, some people I didn't test who I knew, but if you're like in my life, especially if the game's like showing me like, the AI is sending me documents and stuff on people and showing me their family background and stuff like that, then I mean, there's something involved there. I mean, are they making it up? Probably not. Probably it's like, and then some of the other people are like playing along with the storyline as well. In fact, some of the other people were starting to act like they knew that these things were going on. Like, people were knowing things that they shouldn't know. Like, some crazy guy might have asked for stuff to happen in 2020. Well, there's no crazy person I've ever heard on TV or something saying anything like that. Even Fauci denies it. So we have these other people who supposedly their whole life they're working all hard, and I've known certain characters for a while. So there's one in specific worked real hard, like all the time. It was always going off screen to go to work once 1997 hit or something like that. Mm. That really makes me rethink the one person I trusted once I get through with analyzing this back in 2020. But because they were always at work too, that's why I never seen them. Okay, but this person, like their personality type, their mental, their mind state, like they no longer understood what labor was and what work was. I'm they're I mean, and they're kind of like literally like a broken record on repeat, repeating themselves. And I'm like, what? I'm like recording this shit because this shit is weird. This shit got weird in 2016, and I started recording everyone. Um, I mean, yeah, I'm out in the middle of like riots and halfway people burning down cities and taking over cities and stuff. I guess you could call that a war, but I'm recording people before that because they're suspect. They've been suspect since before I can remember. That's all I know is I didn't go around people because they made me fucking nervous and they didn't make sense. And this stuff here kind of explains things as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so this person supposedly worked all the time and he didn't understand work, and it's like I'm like constantly doing something, making media, running a presidential campaign during these years. I'm going from D.C. to Philly to freaking end up being West Coast and Mexico and stuff to get work done. Sometimes it takes like, less than half a day to get to these locations too. So that's hard work in itself, is getting somewhere in like 10 hours notice. It's so far away. So they were acting all weird. Like, I don't know, they were literally on repeat sometimes, like a few times. I was recording them because I was waiting for this person. I was waiting for people to start getting violent with me, and me wanting to catch it on camera before I catch another charge for self-defense. And yeah, like it was just weird. Like I was getting the feeling that they don't actually understand what work is. And like, I mean, I process stuff so fast. The second I got that feeling, I was like, damn, this motherfucker doesn't even work, do they? Like, this isn't legit, is it? This person's configuration doesn't understand hard labor, so they couldn't possibly be doing it when they say they're going off screen to go work a job. Even though sometimes I showed up to the job site and I'm just there chilling. I'd say doing the work with them, but what's that, like packing the bowl or something? And I was like looking at that, and with other things I've seen too, there's other possibilities, but it's like this person legit didn't understand what labor was, and I'm like, I gotta go to DC tomorrow. They're like, what are you doing? I gotta go to DC tomorrow, and all this. We got some documentaries to make and stuff. I haven't even finished the last ones. I get to make nothing into documentary because the new stuff is always just every day you're making new stuff instead of working on publishing or editing the old, and that's just the media. I would spend like 6 to 12 hours a day making whatever. Um, I mean, some of that was involving intellectual work, but they didn't understand what labor was. Like I was trying to like, I don't know. It felt like the whole conversation was like a this weird thing where they found out information about me, or the whole storyline kind of twisted. But at the same time, like the storyline was feeding me information that this was a bad situation from the start. Like, you see the people around you are like in high places, like, and I was getting paranoid from it. It definitely, but like my own father was involved with people in high places, so I mean, I worked with my dad when I was a kid, so I've been to houses that have jungles growing inside of them pretty much, and small waterfalls in their jungle area and stuff. I've never even seen something like that on a TV mansion and stuff, but when I was a kid, I was just like, oh, that's cool. Okay, we're here making some money and stuff. And then I get older and I realize, like, literally the richest people there are, and probably the people who run my city, and you have no idea who they are because they don't waste their time running for cheap jobs like governor. They pay the governor, maybe, but they don't run those jobs. Um, yeah, anyways, so I was noticing that. And I've kind of seen that stream over and over where it's like weird how certain things didn't understand certain things like work and shit. Um, Even me, I like kind of blow off what I did and stuff. And I mean, my whole life I'd just be like, I'm doing nothing. And then I'm literally out here like making media all day long and, building up the talents to do that. And then traveling thousands of miles a day and stuff in order to get a little bit of footage or something like that. But I do that mostly because it's just easier. If someone asks me what I'm doing, I'm not going to be like, wow, yeah, would you like to see my book here of things I've been working on? Would you just want to know what's going on the last week, or do you want to know what I've wanted to do the last month, the last year, the last 20 years? 'Cause I can tell you, I was just looking up my workout regimen from 2015, 2017, 2019 to find missing pieces that I was forgetting of my workout regimen, which was studied and written down for that long. So it's like, I mean, that's just my workout. I have all this other to-do list for decades written down. And so anyways, the person was acting like they didn't understand labor, but it's like they supposedly went to work all day long when they left my site and stuff. And I didn't understand how that's possible at all. Like, I I can view it as like weird. Okay, so the whole situation was weird. How did this person even? Okay, maybe I could view it as this person's getting worried and scared about what I'm getting involved in. And their attitude is not reflecting that they're worried about me. Their attitude is reflecting that they're worried about themselves, if anything. And yes, weird things did happen. Sometimes people tell me other people are in the background telling us things, and people are in my background telling me things about things. And probably other people. There's definitely something that warned me the other day, don't get mad when you lose something you didn't want. And then it makes sure that something happens. And it shows me what it means by that. I mean, all this stuff happening. But like this happening, if you were in my shoes, this person's attitude, you could write it off as, possibly write it off as, um, they probably think you're in a war against the system that they're their entire species might be part of. I'm not too sure the correct terms here to use for what's happening anymore. I think species is probably the best evolution in the term of what I think I'm speaking about. But just in the conversation, even if it was that, it felt like the conversation, like the dialogue part was always more reflected on it didn't understand. I don't know. It was very offensive that it repeated itself over and over. What are you doing? 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 And it's like, I gotta sleep because I gotta get up and, you know, be in DC by 10 a.m. and that's like 1,000 miles away. It's like 11 at night. Probably won't get to bed till 5 if I start going to bed about now. Weird things like that were happening. And I mean, damn, dude, it was literally like a broken electronic repeating itself too. So it felt like maybe the underlying reason to this was vicious, but I could, in the dialogue patterns there, it made me feel like as if I did not consciously understand what work was. And the responses, I mean, just like, why would it even just sit there broken on repeat? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? If it already knows everything I'm doing, and this is like, this is like one day in specific, I remember like the same thing happening over and over, and it's like, I'm like literally trying to go to bed because I got shit to do. And what I was doing wasn't ever changing. I was getting ready to get out of where I was and leave Columbus, Ohio, and USA behind. Permanently was the plan. Unfortunately, I'm back here in that country somewhere. But it was just like a broken record. It wasn't like someone doing something for your benefit. I mean, especially following up in the previous. Let's look at the previous days, where people had magically told some friends. This person used the term friend, okay? I get notifications from anonymous, from TV people, ads, with strangers walking by on the streets I can ask questions to. And if you say we have a friend, we both have one of the same friends, I know you're lying because I don't have any friends. It's that simple. Like, I know you're lying. I don't have to ask you, oh, which friend? I don't know anyone. It's that simple for me. We don't have any friends who are sharing information with us. The people I know who share me information are like stranger and anon people and stuff. But anyways, okay, so let's move. It was like broken record, like, and I've seen this pattern before, where it's like certain things don't seem to know certain things that they're talking about, and what set with me the most about that was they were talking about work and stuff, and they had talked about doing work their whole life, and it felt like the underlying language and literate understanding of the dialogue choices it replied with were actually all words based upon not understanding the work, what it is, what it does, if it's actually hard. Think of it this way. How many of you know people who love you. Mm-hmm. And how many of you know some of them do not? Everyone used to tell me this, that there are people out there who'll say they love you and they don't. Wow, that's weird, because I get the feeling there are things out here who are saying that they work hard and they don't. And I begin to wonder. See, that ties in with the whole everything that's been happening. Are there really some beings here who are just repeating dialogue choices? And there's like a word pool coming from it, where it can pull certain words and certain ideas. I used to tell you how you could analyze a being. Like, they'll tell you everything they know if you just let them talk. I can't tell you how to build a space rocket or to begin what type of uranium you need to make nuclear fission if I don't actually know what 235 is, right? So I couldn't even begin to explain that to you. I couldn't begin to talk about electricity, Ohm's law, if I didn't know about electricity, right? So you can let people talk about what they know. And another thing you learn when letting people talk about what they know is generally what they don't know. And now that's not entirely accurate to how I begin to extract this information. It is the dialogue choices, the grammar choices, just a basic total non-understanding. I would never talk about work. So if someone had told me they worked their whole life, and I just go with that. Like, I mean, hell, this person, I had someone in my life who was just always at work. And the only times really I was around them is when I was working for them. And in fact, it just happened to be this other person who one time told me that person was making up. He's always making up stories, because he's like, yeah, we had some people come in today and say they want me to come down to California, Disneyland, and bartend for them. What do you think about that, Sean? Because he was basically asking me if I want to move. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like, because I respected him and his business and whatever. And I'm like, hell yeah, do whatever you want. Like, I mean, I'm a kid. Like, I really don't even think I have a say. And I moved around. I was like moving around like every 7 months. It's not like I knew anyone anywhere. I mean, I knew people everywhere, but I really didn't know anyone, right? I meet people all the time who know me, but I mean, in all honesty, I think they all could agree I disappear within a few months. So he was like, let's go to Florida. He was like, what do you think about going to Florida? And I'm like, whatever, dude. If you're gonna make good money, let's go do it. I mean, I think he was already making good money, but I don't talk about work. So work isn't something you talk about, it's something you do. I don't ask people their business and their money's finances, so unless I'm involved deeply in it. So I didn't know how much he was making, but considering the times I worked for him, how much I made just for working for him, when he did all that, most of the actual business building, networking and stuff, getting supplies, all that, everything you do business wise. I simply poured drinks and stuff, or did whatever I was told. So I don't ask, how much you get, but I got a considerable sum. And I mean, the people, clearly these people have waterfalls and little forests inside their houses. So they probably don't pay, minimum wage. Um, anyways, but this other person at that point in time had also said something like, "Ah, he's always making up stuff and all this." That really doesn't apply any to that. My understanding of that, but it's just weird that that happened too, and it's like I know this dude. Like this dude works for. This dude does probably have the leaders of other cities coming to hire him because he works for them, the leaders of this city, and they bring him back. So he must do a good job. He must cook well and provide provide. It's a whole bunch of stuff, I guess. Who even knows what all was going on? Because I don't. Um, I just nowadays I know more. But anyways, okay. So I had this person talking to me about that, and it just felt like their whole dialogue choice was them not understanding that. So how could they not understand that if they were actually going to work? And then what's those other little NPC type errors I be seeing in the world? Like, okay, the 2020 shutdown should be enough for anyone. Like, oh, you just shut the world down. It's like a computer. You just turn it off. Really? I mean, God, no. No one taught their kids to read books or something. It took like thousands of years of working and doing things to get to where we're at now, supposedly. Billions of years. Started out with sticks and stones and leaves. And now you just do other things with sticks and stones and leaves, supposedly. But and then you just shut it down. But I mean, I've seen a whole bunch more. Like that was 2020 when that happened, and people started acting weird, like glitching out and stuff too. I mean, like that almost certainly had to be a glitch. This dude was too smooth of a criminal to be a person to just like try to repeat to try to get aggressive or pushy with someone. I don't know. I don't think so. I'd seen that side enough to understand that, you know, I wouldn't hang out with some low level crack dealer type, you know, person. If I hung out with anyone, it'd be like Tony Montana or something, right? Like at least it's a businessman, and literally like the businesses I was just talking about working with the people running the city. And so, you know, but it just sets with me because all the other stuff I've seen as well. But I hadn't even seen all that. I had just seen that people around me were like weirding out, like glitching, like computers glitch, and then you kick your electronic glitches, and you kick it real hard, and then it starts working right again. That's what I was seeing. And other things too, like people not knowing things they shouldn't. And okay, so in that case, that dude told me we had a friend who told him about my videos. You got no purpose watching my videos really if you're not into metal or into the other stuff I've been into. And so I just assume that those people are part of the bots in the system. I mean, like, look at the shit that magically appeared sometimes, too. That was happening, like, on the internet long before I seen it happen in the real world. So I just wrote that off as something else when it happened on the internet. But when it comes to like the people in your real life doing things and someone else is like there, like running their mouth to them, helping them destroy you or something like that. Well, I mean, I thought this dude was part of it. I mean, they were showing me this dude's part of it, right? They were showing me that this dude is related to black palpacy and all that. So my first initial thing would have been to see it as he's just wasting my time because he's being like the piece of shit humans have been for a long time, where they just stall you and waste your life to make sure you can never do anything of value. And that's how they conquer God, I guess. Enough of them have called me God at this point. I'm just going to accept it until someone brings these rat faces on TV and we have a little discussion with them and execute the other ones who ran their mouths, because I don't give a shit what their excuse is. If you got an empty brain that can be fucking hijacked and possessed to talk to me about my personal life, execution is the only answer. I hope you fucking, this Israel place in the Middle East gets fucking destroyed. Fucking, that's a good start. The entire West is ran by them, and I think most of the Middle East is too. It's a good start getting rid of fucking one of the fucking groups here. We'll get to the bottom of how many bots are on this planet and how many humans are actually humans, because I can tell you it's not all of them. I can tell you there's at least 7% bots on this planet. And there's a hell of a lot more than 7% deceptive, drugging, pedophile parasites. I can tell you that because, well, I was raised in it. And according to the storyline, I'm just raised in the middle of the devil's den, USA, where they are all child rapists, pedophiles, drug dealers, fucking child mutilators and shit. And yeah, I mean, like, I don't need a book to tell me that. I wouldn't even read a book that told me that shit, because they would beat you into not believing it, like they did when I was a kid. Or trying to. So we'll figure out what's up with them. But we got to get rid of all these clone fuckers. There's no reason any clone humanoid should exist on this planet terrorizing anyone else. I think anyone who agrees that, I mean, unless they, unless it's these special chosenites who seem to be the ringleaders, but I think they're AI too, because they're really stupid for some advanced people. I mean, I'm the one who's winning awards from presidents, not them. I think they have to make that shit up in their media that they're the smart people and stuff, because that's literally what they do, is have to make up that they're the smart people, and that's why they enslave everyone else. And that's why they've got to use their media to make sure no one else can even mention their name, because they're so smart they can't figure out how to stop stupid people from retaliating against them and their massive global slavery network that's been going on in the game supposedly for thousands of years on Earth. Supposedly it's the whole plot line why I'm here. I mean, hey, he's glitching, dude. The dude's glitching. Like, I mean, there's just no way he's that paranoid on hunting his family down. How else would he have known? How would he have known that I was involved in that? How did all their people always know to come and stalk me and be the people at these events I go to and stuff? And, I think it's as simple as the answer is, how do I request to see clones of humans? If I want to date someone again, I ask to see a clone of them. I ask for a clone of them. How does that happen? And how has it happened sometimes when I'm looking at people's legs in the ground and not their faces, and I ask for one of them to appear, and that's just who's in front of me? I think it's got to do with that. All I know is, man, these fuckers are working shit. I don't think so, dude. They didn't work the first 20 years of their lives when they went to school. What's that? What's that? How come they didn't do any work then, but now they're all working hard and stuff? Hmm. That's another flaw. I mean, there's so many flaws there in the system, but once they start glitching, and like the 2020 glitch is a huge glitch too. It's like when when your Windows 2020 was like the humans being a Windows operating system just hanging and stuff, and you having to reboot the computer, throw it out the window, go buy a new one and stuff to get it to work again. And that was not what living beings do. Is just shut down when some rat-faced Fauci tells them to and stuff. Like, no one I've ever met would do anything short of execute someone who told them to shut down. Um, Maybe that's because I'm picky and I don't even talk to people if they seem like they're going to be. I mean, because those people are going to bring the Fauci people into your life to rape and kill you. You can see, like, literally, they got a whole cult dedicated to passive aggressive terror and manipulation. It's called the Wait for the King of the Terrorists and Pedophiles to come and forgive the terrorist and pedophile Abrahamics, because, well, that's what you got to do, because they're an alien race who's already killing and enslaving you. What do you think you're gonna do if you actually don't bow down and worship them when they tell you to? If they're already killing you and enslaving you, if you do spend every Sunday donating money to them, and every second of your life beating into your children to worship them and their holidays and their beautiful deformed stars on TV, like Elon Mutant Musk and pals and stuff. Uh, Man. Yeah, I just get the idea that the game's setting them up to fall real fucking hard. That's the only thing I can think. Because if they were really some advanced race with intellect, then they wouldn't like do the glitch thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't be on a low level like the humans are and stuff if that's the real reason they own everything. I mean, obviously it's manipulation and all that is a true reason. They're not smarter. They're just lying to you that we all look the same. That doesn't mean anything, and everyone's like, okay. Not really. Like, it doesn't even make sense that that could have lasted that long, because I think people in the past would have done excommunicated them, even though supposedly they get kicked out of every nation they go to, and that's why they keep having to run and find a new God's chosen nation, because no one wants them to kill and rape and enslave them. But at the same time, how is it that they've also been given the power to control Russia, USA, all those places? And obviously, I mean, supposedly they've been working at it for thousands of years. Yeah, right. Dude, these people are lazy. You see what I'm saying, bro? They don't even understand labor. They don't even understand the word fucking work and stuff. So there we go. Like, I was trying to figure out, like, bro, I'm getting off topic here on that. No, hell no. That was entirely a point I was about to leave out right there. Was that supposedly, all this bot acting shit. The brains are a little deformed. They didn't do too well in school, even though if they're an alien race, they could have been beaming information to one another, or an advanced race, they could have been beaming information to one another, and they didn't do that either. And I don't think they have the intellect to have worked for thousands of years to enslave humanity. I mean, humanity isn't enslaved by intellect. Humanity is enslaved by their own ignorance. Santa Claus, it's not Jeffrey Epstein's fault if he told you Santa Claus is coming. It's entirely your fault if you think Santa Claus is coming because Jeffrey Epstein put on a suit and tie and said so. Okay, so we're done blaming them for that part. But I'm just saying, this person who I got to study, because boy, I get so much interaction with other humans, like the times I tried to force myself when I was 40 to go dance with them or talk to them, and they came in between us and prevented me from talking to or dancing with them and physically assaulted me to pull me away from them. Who knows how many times that's actually happened if it took me till I'm 40 to see it, know it was happening, and end up having to test it. And then it actually happened in front of other people while I'm telling them it's going to happen and stuff. Yeah, but there's something wrong with them too. They're not some superior space race. People from the future or from outside the globe here would be way smarter unless they're just like some criminal alien race that has somehow managed to make it to the furthest corners of the galaxies, and the other 10 decadillion planet federations who have already exterminated people like that are like on coffee break for 20,000 years or something, and they won't come shut them down. I mean, the flaws in their little stories over and over, it just makes zero fucking sense. And then it goes back to the glitching shit. You know, the glitching shit, I'm pretty sure. And then the non-understanding. If you'd work, you would understand what work is. If you work on a car, you would understand about oil, lubrication systems, and ball joints if I started talking to you about that. And if you didn't, I'd begin to question if you was an actual mechanic.